Pride Month. That delightful time of year when corporations sell us rainbow products while sending money to politicians who attempt to legislate us out of existence. For 11 months of the year, I'm Gwenny, just your typical middle-aged gamer on YouTube, cheesing my way through difficult encounters, throwing myself off ledges, being eaten by monsters. But in the merry month of June, I'm Gweniford, pansexual whirlwind, member of the community. I have opinions. I can contribute to the discourse. 2 Junes ago, I got super high before a broadcast of Prey, titled it Tropes versus Lesbian Movies, and giggled for an hour, occasionally pausing to make comments about some films I'd watched the night before. To this day, it remains the most viewed video on this channel, followed by the next year's entry, the appropriately titled Tropes versus Lesbian Movies, Volume 2. This year, we're leveling up and giving this series a proper video. There's editing and a voiceover and... Mercy me, is that a script I'm reading? Stars it is! So join me, would you kindly? This is... Tropes vs. Lesbian Movies, Volume 3! Kajillionaire 2020 stars Evan Rachel Wood, Deborah Winger, Gina Rodriguez, and Richard Jenkins. Directed by Miranda July. Evan Rachel Wood plays Old Dolio, the daughter in a family of con artists. While running a grift, they meet the vivacious Melanie, played by Gina Rodriguez. The family brings Melanie into their schemes, and Old Dolio's tiny little world gets rocked, literally and figuratively. Trope-wise, we have one of my favorites here, where the lively, sexy, extroverted lesbian crashes into the closed-off or repressed protagonist's life, teaching her to open her heart and see the world in new and exciting ways. Of course, straight movies have this trope as well, but rather than being a manic pixie dream lesbian, Melanie exists for herself. She has an inner life and outer life, ambitions beyond being a cardboard cutout catalyst for Old Dolio's growth. She's more a Clementine from Eternal Sunshine than a Claire from Elizabethtown. The relationship between Old Dolio and her parents, played by Winger and Jenkins, is at turns hilarious and heartbreaking. And the slow burn romance between Old Dolio and Melanie amidst the quirky chaos feels natural and very sweet. I like this movie, not much to complain about. Recommended. My Days of Mercy 2017 stars Elliot Page and Kate Mara. Directed by Tali Shalom Ezer. Quick heads up, My Days of Mercy was filmed before Elliot Page came out as trans, so when referring to Page's character Lucy, I'll be using she and her. When referring to Page, I'll be using he and him. Elliot Page plays Lucy, a protester against the death penalty whose father is slated to be executed for the murder of her mother. At one such demonstration, she meets Mercy, played by Kate Mara. Mercy's father is a cop whose partner was murdered, and her family protests for the other side. The two strike up an unlikely friendship, which inevitably turns to romance. This film takes a lot of time exploring the reasons each of the lead characters think and feel the way that they do about the death penalty issue. Often you can tell when a movie has something to say because its ham-fisted delivery gets in the way of everything else. Not so with My Days of Mercy. Though the film is told from Lucy's perspective, it's telling a story about people, flawed and messy as they are, rather than conveying a message. It was so engrossing, I wondered if there would even be a trope to discuss. Then, in the third act, boom. I even said it out loud. Ah, there it is. Truly, I should have seen it coming 100 miles away. You've probably already guessed it just from my description of the plot. Of course, the sweet, sassy, beautiful love interest with the cop dad and the church choir mom has a boyfriend at home. She's figuring herself out by fingering another. Tale as old as time. Hey, just because a trope happens in real life doesn't mean I can't make fun of it. It's just so trite at this point, you know? You have a gorgeously written, character centric plot that inherently contains conflict, not only between the two main characters and their beliefs, but also Lucy's internal conflict. Her dad is on death row for murdering her mom. She wants to believe he's innocent, but she's not sure. Either way, she doesn't want him to die. And that's just one source of dramatic tension. There's the family's struggle to prove his innocence before his execution. There's the hardships they go through just trying to live as a family without parents. And 150 more that I don't have time to get into right now. The romantic interest didn't need to be a big old cheating, lying cheater on top of it all. Wouldn't it be refreshing if Mercy's conservative family didn't care that she had a girlfriend, but maybe they hated Lucy for being a tree hugging hippie freak or something? I don't know. Fucking surprise me for once, movie. All of that being said, Page is at his best here in his portrayal of Lucy. That deadpan sarcasm he's known so well for is on full display, but also there are these highly emotional moments that just pierced my withering heart. Yes, I cried a little at some bits, and yes, I did like the movie very much. Hell, if it didn't have at least one worn out cliche for me to rag on, I might have had to endure a worse movie just to have something to talk about in this video. Recommended. Conclusion! There was a third movie I wanted to talk about, but I have run out of time. It's already late. It's gonna be late for Pride Month. Anyway, the film was called Life Partners. It's a buddy comedy. It pokes fun at lesbian stereotypes and embraces every buddy comedy trope you can possibly think of since the beginning of time. It's very funny. Check it out if you enjoy that sort of thing. This year I had a really hard time finding lesbian movies to talk about. Mostly there were series and documentaries, neither of which are in the purview of these videos. A lot of the films available that were in said purview I've already seen or covered in previous entries. And honestly, if I was going to talk about films I'd seen but haven't covered, I'd do an hour each on The Favorite and The Handmaiden. And then I'd never get this thing done. Also, I'd just squee the entire time because those movies are the best. The movies I did find were high quality. I had a really good time this year, and making this video was a lot of fun. I hope you had a fantastic Pride Month despite everything. Now is where I talk about something serious. A few days ago, as of this recording, the Supreme Court of the United States decided that if you are pregnant, your body belongs not to you, but to the state. This is unacceptable. A person's body belongs to that person in all places, at all times, under all circumstances. The egregious overreach does not end there. The Supreme Court intends to attack marriage equality, and I shudder to think of what they intend to do about trans folks. While the right to autonomy does not come from the state, rather it is inherent in our very humanity, it must be codified by the state, or nonsense like this keeps happening, where a religious minority of conservatives decides the policy for the entire nation. Our bodies are not footballs to be kicked around to score political points and campaign donations with. I am so angry. I urge you to call your Congress people and tell them to stop resting on their laurels and get shit done now. We can't backslide any further. This is crazy. Happy Pride. Happy 4th of July. My name is Gwen. This has been Tropes vs. Lesbian Movies Volume 3. And until I see you again, seriously, get shit done. I love you. Bye.